Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? We are getting back into Love Island All Stars, and now we're on episode 8. I understand that it's going to be confusing for some, but I go in chronological order. For me, this is episode 8 because that's what it says on the programming. I don't go into the unseen bits, but I still class them as an episode on its own. So we are on episode 8. So before I get into it, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos. And let's get into the messiness of the villa, shall we? The one thing I'm going to come up and say is, why are these producers keep bringing in the exes for? I mean, raw. These people cannot catch a break. Now it's Kaz in for the fall-in for her ex to come in. Yeah, and the way they did that was proper bull. It was BS. It was absolute BS because they didn't have to do that to Kaz. I mean, you did it for Molly, you did it for Georgia H, and now you're going to do it for Kaz. Come on now, stop bringing in the exes. Stop bringing in the exes. Let some fresh blood come in. Let some people make new connections with people. Yeah, albeit you're friends and you know each other, but why the exes for? Because they're trying to promote drama. That's what they're doing. They're trying to promote this drama filled freaking villa, and it's gonna be fucking freaking filled with drama now, I'm telling ya. So as we start off from the night before, you know, Libby's found out everything that Mitch has been doing, basically. So Libby is hella upset at the fact that Mitch has turned around and says to her, "You're my number one," bearing in mind he said the same thing to Demi. And this is the problem with Mitch. He doesn't learn from his past mistakes. That boy does not learn from his past mistakes. Why are you going around telling girls that they're your number one, number two, this, that, and the other? Stop doing that. Stop doing that. And also, these girls need to stop believing everything that comes out of this man's mouth, like seriously, because you're all there, you all know he's called Messy Mitch for a reason. He is called Messy Mitch for a reason. You kind of already given the answer away because you've already seen him in his season and realized what he does when it comes to the women. Come on now, he had 3 girls playing cheggeries with them all. First with Molly, then with Abby, and then with was it Ella B? Yeah, then with Ella B, playing cheggeries with them all, and yet you still want to deal with this man. I would have made a wide berth from this man as soon as he entered the villa. I'd be like, yeah, hi and goodbye. Why are you giving this man still time of day? I do not know. Like, seriously, do not know. Kaz then pulls Mitch, and this is why I like Kaz. This is why I like Kaz. She doesn't fuck about, man. She just gets straight to the point. And this is what I'm on about in terms of communicating. Communicate, go straight to the source and have it out with them. Don't go to the group and say, "Oh, I don't know if I'm feeling this. I can't believe he's done this. Da, 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 da. Yes, I'm going to go." You don't need their bidding to tell you to go say something to the dude. Do what Kaz did. Go straight to the source. And she did. She went straight to Mitch and she asked him point blank, you know, when we were by the fire pit, and she said she had an inkling, and she told him this inkling that them two were kissed, but he was aware that they'd kissed apparently, so she brought it out of him. So she point blank asked Mitch, so was that you being hella shady because you wanted, if I'd picked Lewis, you thought Demi was going to pick you, or was that you having my back? And Mitch said, no, it was me having your back. And Kaz didn't believe in, but I will give one thing to Mitch where he was honest with Kaz, where Kaz turned around and says to him, well, okay then, if the situation hadn't occurred between Lewis and Demi, would you have still been wanting to get to know Libby? And Mitch, out of Mitch's mouth, he said, I don't know. He said, I don't know. And Kaz was like, okay then. And then Kaz walked off, and I'm like, at the end of the day, he was being honest. But he should have been honest from the get-go. He shouldn't have been playing in this girl's face and trying to have a set piece there that he knows he could fall back on, that will always pick him if he needed them to. So then you see Demi going and chat to Mitch, and I'm like, Demi, nah, nobody chat to that man. At the end of the day, what's done is done. what happened in the dark came out into the light. You had to tell Libby that. You had to tell her that, because at the end of the day, she's there sitting there in emotional angst after this guy telling you that, you know, he's called her number. Yes, you had to tell her that. You had to. You had to release the Kraken on that shit completely. So Mitch saying, oh, it doesn't matter, is null and void at the end of the day. He did the action, now he's reaping those consequences, isn't it? It's the actions versus the consequences. That's what he doesn't learn from. I mean, he went through this shit already in his season and he still ain't learned from nothing. Like, seriously. Mitch has not learned. Mitch has not learned, and that's why I said he's immature. And girls need to give that man a wide motherfucking berth, like, completely. So then as it moves on, you see Georgia S and Molly having a chat, and basically Georgia S and Molly like piecing it out in terms of Georgia S wanting to get to know Callum. And basically she's given her whole blessing, and I'm like, the way in which these two are talking though, it's like it's just lip service to me. Between them two, how they were talking, it was just proper lip service, because even though the words were coming out of their mouth, their expressions were saying something completely different to each other. They weren't particularly bothered about what the other one had to say, but it was all about saving face, and in Georgia S's case, like having grace in that sense, in regards to, look, I'm your friend, but I'm speaking to your man. That's how it came across to me. That is literally how it came across to me. Then you see Josh pull Molly for a chat up at the terrace. You see Georgia H see them go up at the terrace, and then thinking, well, what the fuck, do you know what I mean? And then Josh is saying that he wants to get to know Molly, and Molly is saying out of everyone in that villa, she wanted to get to know Josh, but then she tells Josh that he needs to go speak to Georgia H first to let her know what's up and what's the dealio. At the end of the day, she had the same conversation with Toby, and look where that conversation got Toby at the end of the day when he spoke to Georgia S. So with me, Molly should practice what she preaches, and Molly should go and speak to Georgia H and let her know that she has an interest in Josh. In turn, which is what she actually does do, she does go to Georgia H and speaks to her, and basically telling her exactly what her and Josh spoke about up on the terrace, and the fact that they do want to get to know each other. So Georgia H is like, she's giving Molly her blessing, they pull Josh over to it, and then that's when Georgia H jumps in when Josh comes into the conversation and basically says, well, you were kissing me over on the daybeds and you were hugging me and everything like that, so I didn't get the impression that you were here for anybody else at that stage, but for me, that's the impression you were giving me. But he was then saying that he wanted to get to know Molly, and that's when Molly excuses herself from that conversation, and this is where the real shit just pours out. This is where the real shit just pours out of Georgia H, basically bagging Josh for mugging her the hell off at the end of the day. And basically Georgia H then turns around to him and says, well, we don't have no chemistry. Basically, we're not compatible at all, because Josh was there stegging himself, saying, well, I still want to get to know you, I still want to speak to you, but Georgia H cut that shit dead, like proper cut that shit dead. And this is what I'm saying. If you have inklings that there's somebody else in this villa that you want to get to know, as again in my last episodes, when it comes to being open, have the conversation in terms of what it is meant to be in open. Then also, don't be lipsing off the girl that you're coupled up with, especially if there's unfinished business between the both of you, because guaranteed someone's going to take it a different way. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that without having a settled down, sit down conversation with each other? And this is what I mean. The only conversations that I really see happening are when either shit hits the fan or they're interested in someone. That's the only time these people will have a full-on conversation. The only person that I've seen that's been straightforward so far is Kaz. That's all I can say. That's the only person that I've seen in this villa that's been straightforward in terms of she means what she speaks is Kaz, and she will go directly to the source. While all the others are like pussyfooting around each other. Grow some balls and freaking talk. Bloody hell. And then you see Josh go and skis to Callum and basically tell Callum what's going Okay, appreciate it, respect where respect is due. You went to Callum and told him what's happening, but we already know that Molly and Callum are dead in the water right now. There isn't no rectifying or opening up their relationship again. That's done, because Molly's on a different planet. To be fair, Molly's on a different planet. So then you got Georgia H and Arabella's talking, and this is what I mean. I don't understand the concept of you being nicey, like giving it the green light, all this, that, and the other, when inside you're absolutely freaking burning. Absolutely burning. And this was Georgia H towards Josh, and the fact that she was absolutely pissed that he will go get Molly to have a chat with her, to say X, Y, and Z. Yes, she appreciates the fact that Molly came to her and this, that, and the other, and they had that conversation. But at the end of the day, she was pissed because he came in there for her. This is what he was telling her, apparently, that he came in there for her in order to sort things out with her. And I do kind of feel it for her if it's true. I feel it for Georgia H at the end of the day, because she did like Josh. But again, this is what I'm saying, when you become physical with a guy, when you decide to put your all in with a guy, because at the end of the day, who's going to be her fallback person from this? Anton. Anton is going to be the fallback person, and Anton does make his move. Anton doesn't even wait for the paint to dry before he makes his move on Georgia H. And Anton's talking about how they can then get back to where they were, and they were getting a little bit more physical, and Georgia H is agreeing with him. And I'm like, no, you're only agreeing with him because right now you're hurt. Right now Georgia H is hurt, and to get that solace and that affirmation from Anton is everything to her right now. So he's literally, like, you know, dousing her. I ain't gonna say his love juice, because that sounds fucking disgusting. One's able to maneuver Georgia H in how he wants to, and you see that within the episode, he's able to maneuver himself back into her hemisphere in that sense. And I'm just like, my guy, Josh, she fucked you off for Josh, to be fair, which is what she did. She fucked him over for Josh at the end of the day. But because Josh is now fucked her over, Anton was kind of the placeholder. But because Anton's already made it clear that this is where he wants to go with Georgia H, she's going to take it. She's going to take it. And then you hear Georgia S talking about Toby. She's saying she's got a lot in common with Callum. I mean, this just sprung up out of nowhere. She's now got all this in common with Callum. Let her crack on with it at the end of the day. But then she made the comment that Toby had his arm around her 24/7. That's why she never got to know anybody else within the villa. And I'm like, no, love. Let's bring those videos back, shall we? Let's bring those videos back, because number one, when Callum first came in, yeah, and you learned the dealio of what Callum had to do, he had to steal one of the galleys, them, yeah, and then Molly came in. You, my girl, made sure that you had your arm around Toby, like in a vice, and you had your head on his shoulder. So don't give me that, oh, Toby was not clinging to you. You were clinging to him. You were putting your full force into him. He was not doing it to you. So for you to turn around and say, oh, that's why I never got to know no one, because 24/7 he had his BS. Absolute BS. And then number two, you told Anton that you just wanted Toby at this moment in time. You wanted to see how things went with Toby. It was you constantly pouring into Toby where Toby was not pouring into you. So you could have chatted to anybody else and Toby probably wouldn't have minded in the slightest in that sense. But you didn't. And that's why I'm saying, I swear down, the majority of these girls, Molly and Georgia S, yeah, they mix a lot. They like to remix their own stances, their own narrative as to how they're seeing it in their brain, projected out for everybody else to see when we're actually watching the program as it goes along. Yeah, we may not see everything. Yes, they may edit this, that, and the other, but my God. So then you got Josh as well saying that there's one rule for another and one rule for one. Basically, there's one rule for the girls and a different rule for the boys. And I'm like, no, my guy. You gone straight for Georgia H, man. You gone straight for Georgia H. You were the one on that daybed, even though you turned around and told Molly that she was lying when she said it. Then you had to hardly admit that, yes, I kissed her once on the daybed. What does that make you look like? What does that make you look like? The fact that you called Georgia H a liar when you know you were kissing that girl up and hugging her up. Don't do that. Don't do that. And then try and say there's one rule for one and one rule for the others. This is because you friggers in there don't communicate. Like, seriously, there's no such word as good communication between any of you. Like, any of you. Then you had, I think it was Georgia S, I'm sure it was Demi, Lewis on one bed. And then you had Toby and Callum on the other daybed. And Georgia S and Callum were having this conversation, and he was talking about aspirations, and Georgia S was going into the realm of, like, she wants to meet someone for her, and I'm just like, and you can see Toby just like laughing and smiling, and I'm like, yeah, because she's doing it all for Toby's effort. That's what she's doing it for. She's doing it for Toby's effort. We are not blind. We see this, because, to be fair, I've done this in a past life. I've done this in a past life to someone where I think I'm interested in someone else because the other person has just effed me the frick off or did their thing in that sense. And in order to get back at them, I'm talking to someone else in front of them. So I know that game very well. Know that game very well, because I don't understand how she now realises that she's compatible with Callum. That's why I'm screaming BS with Georgia S. BS with Georgia S. But she's going to shoot herself in the freaking foot. She's going to shoot herself in the freaking foot. And then you see Mitch and Arabella having a chat. And Mitch is talking about how he's honest. And I'm saying, Mitch, you're honest to a point. It's only when you get caught that you become honest. Before that, you are not honest. You start to play a game that only Mitch knows how to play at the end of the day. And this is why I'm saying I don't understand how these girls don't know that Mitch is this way. Like, seriously, that Mitch is this way. And then he turns around and he says to Arabella that she's in his top 2. And I'm like, you see right there, sir? You see right there, sir? This guy not learn. He not learn one iota, and that's why him gone fall flat on him rotted face. I'm telling you, with any girl that comes in there that knows of Mitch, don't do it to yourself. Really, don't do it to yourself. I mean, because this is the second season now for Mitch, yeah? Even though it's All Stars, and he's done the same thing, and I don't understand how, you know, Libby did not at least guard herself against that shit and make sure she knew the metal of Mitch before she put her all into that shit. My thing is, so we get to the night time, and my thing is when people make certain jokes, there's an element of backbiting and truth in it. Do you know what I mean? It's like when Callum turned to Toby and said that he's on Project Steal Your Missus, and Toby just point blank turned to him and says, you know what, crack on. Toby's not bothered. He's not bothered. His sights are set on Arabella at this moment in time. He's going to be sorely disappointed, and we'll get there. But his sights were set on Arabella. And then Josh waltzes in like he's the big I am and says to Anton that, you know, if she dropped you in a second, he's talking about Georgia H, she dropped you in a second, and that he was looking out for Anton. I thought, my dear, what you need to do is just shut your mouth. Like, seriously, Josh, what you needed to have done was be gracious in that, have a little bit of decorum and shut your mouth at the end of the day, because that, no, and that just shows the type of person that you are, Josh. You talk about you've matured, you're looking for X, Y, and Z, but you ain't, if that's how you're going to chat to a next man. If that's how you're really going to chat to a next man about Georgia H. And Anton was quite diplomatic, and he says things can change at the drop of a hat in that place, and it can. It literally can change at the drop of a hat in that place. So then you got Josh with the big I am telling Molly about how he wants to pursue Molly more than GH. More than GH. I say GH, Georgia H. Josh, my love. Georgia H already binned you. She already said you two weren't compatible from the time that you picked Molly, yeah? Georgia H was, yeah, you're gone. I ain't dealing with you. I ain't doing that with you. So that avenue was closed, yeah, so it's a waste of time you even saying that at the end of the day. So then you got Anton as well, then telling Georgia H in terms of what Josh was doing and how he was winding him up. And all I can say is Georgia H should have stuck with Anton from the start at the end of the day. Yes, I know that she had unfinished business, but I don't necessarily see how them two, I would say, when I say them two, I mean Josh and Georgia H actually talked out their issues in regards to this unfinished business rather than falling back into the same old patterns with each other. You know, it's kind of like the ex, as he did, leaving her on the doorstep of a club. And this is what he did. He left her in the dust once he got into the villa for pastures new with Molly. So then, as we know, once Maya enters the freaking villa, something is afoot, and something was afoot indeed. So she calls them all to the fire pit, and basically Arabella was standing at the front, and basically she had to steal any boy which would leave one girl single. But before she chose, another bombshell came in, and that bombshell was Tyler. Kaz's eyes was like, what the fuck? It was Kaz's ex, and now Kaz did not look happy with this prospect in the slightest. So Tyler comes in, who's Kaz's ex, and they were coupled off within the villa within their season, but lasted 3 months once they got on the outside. Now he's saying that there's unfinished business. To Kaz didn't see no unfinished business. She kind of thought, you know, that was it, done and dusted. I don't have to see your face again. That's the impression that Kaz was giving me when she was looking at Josh at the end of the day. And I'm just like, oh God, they're picking the exes for a reason. They're picking the exes for a reason. So Tyler basically said that certain chats need to be had, and everybody was like, whoa, and looking at Kaz, and Kaz was just like, Kaz weren't shook. She weren't nervous, but she was giving the look as if to say, I don't know what chats you think we need to be having, but I think we've done all the talking that we need to be done. But we'll see what happens next. So we go back to Arabella. And basically, she needs to choose. But from when she talked about this guy with the endearing energy, I knew it wasn't Toby she was talking about. I knew it was Chris she was going to pick, and that's who she picked. She picked Chris. So then Demi becomes single from that. So now it's Tyler's turn to pick. And Tyler said she's the only girl I want to couple up with. Even though there's a lot of good looking girls within the villa, Kaz was the only girl that he wanted to couple up with. I'm like, so you saying that she's not good looking? Your reason was absolutely dire fucking balako, my love. You could have went more into depth with that, but you did not. So now that makes Lewis single. Oh, sorry, I just took my hair out because I'm going to get my hair did. And I just said that in between the video, but hey ho. No, neither here nor there. Now wash the hair, because me wash it, me dry it, and now it's ready to be plaited. Anywho, let's get back to this, shall I? So, Kaz don't look happy at all. Like, she didn't look happy standing up next to Tyler, and then her and Tyler literally got into it, like proper got into it. Tyler was questioning her and all sorts, and I thought, what? Why? Because at the end of the day, Kaz is right. You didn't really give a reason as to why you was picking her. It's just that you two needed to have a chat. You could have had her to chat. You could have paired up with anybody else and still had your chat with Kaz if you really, really well and truly wanted to. Because it looks like once Kaz shut that door, she shut that door on you, and that was it. So I don't know what other chats you want to have, but she's willing to hear you out. So then Demi and Lewis get hella dumped unceremoniously from the island. That was it. They were both single. There was no other chances. Just whoop, you're gone. So when Demi and Lewis went, they did have their exit interview with Maya outside, and Lewis was talking about that there's potential for him and Demi at the end of the day, which Demi was quite shocked by. And I thought, well, why are you shocked by it for? Because at the end of the day, this man was showing you the interest that you wanted to see. So let's see what happens with them two. But yes, Demi and Lewis are gone. Kaz is now with Tyler, and Arabella is now with Chris. And we'll see what the next one brings. And that's it for now, my renegades. as I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and do videos, and I'll be back to you all again soon. Peace out.